Welcome back to the Blue Collar Trade Show, where real people share real stories about building, fixing, leading, and living with purpose. I'm Troy, and I'm here with the crew, Chad, Jim, Marissa. Each week we dig into lessons, have laughs, and hard-won wisdom from the folks who keep America running. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome to the Blue Collar Trade Show, and welcome Mr. Steve Gibson. Woo! Yay, Steve. Chad.
Welcome, Steve.
Everybody. That's not much of a standing ovation. It's kind of... All right.
Don't stand though, because you only see the lower half of you guys. I'd prefer it to stay.
You definitely don't want Jim to
face.
stand up. You don't want Jim to stand up,
right?
He rarely wears pants on these calls, on these shows, and during the show.
Depends.
What's that? So Steve, have you ever? We were just talking offline while you were getting your computer back up and running. But have you ever had a BLT with peanut butter and bananas?
Does it have the bacon, lettuce, and tomato on it as well, or just the banana?
BLT with peanut butter.
All of it.
That'd be the whole
A BLT with peanut butter.
No.
And banana.
No. Why would anyone do that? Why would that be a thing?
Have you had a party?
It's not even. It's not only a thing. It's like the biggest thing. In Jim's house.
In Jim's house. Okay, for
an annual party.
Specifically for
BLT
Jim.
party. Yeah.
Okay. So tell the story, Jim. It's an interesting story. So when you were in Sarasota, the whole BLT, the peanut butter BLT thing, there's literally thousands of people, the reporters, helicopters, the whole thing. The town shut down for this thing, right?
Just about.
Chad almost went once.
So it started an old Navy buddy of mine in Chicago. He and his next door neighbor got really drunk one night. The next morning they were both out mowing their lawns. And one of them said, "I am so hungover." And he said, it'd be really good as a BLT. So he pulled his Coleman stove out of the garage and in the driveway started making BLTs. And that's how it started. His wife got home and said, "What are you doing?" He says, "We're making BLTs." And she said, "Why didn't you use the stove in the house?" And he said, "Because we're in the driveway." So that's kind of man's logic. But so that evolved into every year he had this party for 20 years. When I finally went to one, I flew to Chicago for this party. He had
for
300
BLT
people.
And peanut butter party.
Well, when you walk into his garage, it's all outdoors. It's in the driveway and in the garage. You walk into the garage and there's this huge board on how to make the perfect BLT. And it says, "Please do not deviate from this." And
it's proprietary.
So you have to use Wonder Bread. Don't bring any of that bunny bread over. It's got to be Wonder Bread. You have to lightly toast it. Then the bacon, you cook 3 pounds at a time in a big Dutch oven and get it nice and crispy. Then you nestle, keyword there, nestle the bacon into the peanut butter because it'll start to melt the peanut butter a little bit. Ooh. Then the lettuce, tomato, and then on the other side is the mayonnaise. And then you compress slightly.
You lost Chad with mayonnaise. You lost
Chad.
Like
mayonnaise, Chad?
Oh yeah. And
what are you talking about,
so
Marissa?
our last one, we had 100 and some people there. So, but we went through 78 pounds of bacon and for 100 people, a lot of bacon. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How intoxicated are the people while they're eating it?
Some of them don't drink, but we love the people that bring their own bacon. They went and bought it. One guy went and he bought this specialty bacon, and it was, this thick cut, homemade. He buys it at some ranch, and the look on his face when I dumped it into that Dutch oven with 2 pounds of Oscar Mayer bacon, I thought he was going to lose his mind. But yeah, it's a lot of
$40 of the bacon mixed in with $6 of the bacon.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, funny. Okay, so I got to tell you, I haven't been to the party, but the reason we're talking about it is Jim is taking the rest of the week off to get ready for the BLT party in South Carolina.
2026 BLT. April
18th. I would figure you have to give your colon kind of a break beforehand, so it's nice to rest.
Right. You have to plan accordingly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And after Lee.
Right. You might as well take the week after. Yeah.
All right. So Steve Gibson. So I've known you for what, 3, 4, 5 years now. You helped us with our website, all kinds of stuff. You've been in the recruiting world since you were a young lad. I think is
Yeah.
how you described it. But
Yeah.
introduce yourself tell nobody else on this call even knows who you are. So go ahead and just
Well, I
tell us a
find
little
that
bit
very, very unlikely, but I mean, I guess it's potentially the case. No, so my name's Steve Gibson. I'm with a company called Recruiters Websites. We are a website design and marketing firm specifically for the recruiting and staffing industry. And so that's what led us to getting to know Troy and the blue collar recruiter. But I've been in the industry. I was a recruiter myself. I worked a desk for about 7 years. Grew up around it. My dad's a recruiter. He started a firm in 2000 after leaving a mid-sized staffing company out of St. Louis throughout the 90s. Myself, my brother, my sister, we all joined on board. So when I graduated college, he made me go work for another staffing firm first before coming to work for him, but then joined his ranks. And way we got into doing recruiters websites is we had my brother Jeff Gibson was one.
Before you get there real quick. So how
okay.
were you so you were a recruiter, an actual recruiter, or so you did it like start to finish? How'd that go and why did you stop?
Yeah, so 360 desk. I wasn't bad.
What does that mean?
Phrase that
Okay.
well, there's this phrase I came up with, Troy. It says it's a play on those that teach do, right? So those that recruit do, and those that can't recruit sell to recruiters. And that's kind of the segue that
don't
we
take
had.
that personally. All right.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. No, I wasn't bad. I actually made a placement within my first 2 weeks. With a small mid-sized carrier out of Michigan, I still remember the guy named Ben Adams. He was my first placement for a claims adjuster.
Is that funny how you remember that? So how long ago was that?
Nice.
What year would that have been?
2009.
Okay. So the internet was here. All right. So that's good.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, so why did your dad have you work at another company first? Like, what's the reason?
I think it was just because if you work for family, I don't know how many of you all worked with family. There can be instances where people become a little lethargic or entitled in some ways. And so I think he wanted to prove that wasn't the case or make sure that wasn't the case. And then also when you're coming out of college, you learn a lot of things in your first job, just really how to manage the kind of intensity of a normal role versus college is kind of laid back. I don't know, for you guys, it wasn't very hard, not from an academic perspective, but just from the perspective of it just, the schedule's not hard, right? You work with a part-time job, you go to school 15 hours a week. It's not bad. And so for you to go out and learn kind of what it means to work a 40, 50, 60 hour work week, he wanted me to experience that first and then come teach me the raw materials and principles of recruiting, but let the world teach me kind of what it means to actually have a job and what that means to work. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
Smart guy, your dad, man.
Yeah.
So your dad saw you as a entitled and lethargic young lad.
That's what I picked up. Yeah.
Like every father should. Like every father should see their
There's
son in
truth
that
to that.
same light.
There's
No,
truth
I
to
do.
that.
Yeah.
What's that, Chad? I do.
Yeah, my son just turned 5, and I'm yelling at him constantly. Get off his butt.
Get a
Wake
job.
up, kid.
Get
You
a
can't
job.
work here.
Get a job, man.
Get a job.
All right. So you got your first placement. You still remember? Isn't that funny? What you remember that? Do you remember your last one?
I remember my last deal that fell apart. It was
That's the other side
Yeah.
of the science of sales, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lady out of Oklahoma who was a perfect fit for a role. We were working with a work comp company in Oklahoma that needed a marketing person of all people. And I found a great candidate. She was perfect fit with a kind of an insurance, because we specialize in the insurance industry. So insurance adjacent type of company, but worked in their marketing. So it really fit well. Great personality, really hit it off with the company. Went through the process. They made her an offer almost immediately, right? And so I went to her and I said, "Hey, Amy, I got a great offer for you. This is the job." It was like 15-20% raise, which was unheard of at the time. It was great. She was super excited. She's like, "Yep, I accept." So okay, great. Okay, so a couple of things that are going to take place, after this offer letter signed, is they're going to do a background check. Is there anything that I should be concerned about when they do the background check? Nope, Steve, I'm great. Everything's good. So perfect. So a week or so goes by after I give the green light to do the background check. They call me. They say, "Hey, Steve, we cannot find her college degree. Do you have any idea that if she can go ahead and give us the transcripts? Because sometimes this happens, we can't find it." So I said, "Great, I'll call her." So I call Amy. She's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. I have the transcript. Sure, I'll call you back in a little bit." So about the day goes by, she calls me back, and Amy then says, "Steve, I'm sorry, but this whole time I've been lying to you. I don't have a degree. I went to school there for X amount of time. I don't even know how long it was, but I never graduated. So I don't have a degree. And so I, before this, had adamantly told the employer, "Oh, she has it. It's fine. It's great. We're good to go." So made myself look like an idiot. And then Amy, of course, made herself look like an idiot. So she didn't get the job. I didn't make a placement on that one. And that was right before my brother was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. You want to join me over here?" And I'm like, let's do this. Let's do that for sure. Because the only thing, the second best thing to working with candidates is working with recruiters. So, and so I didn't necessarily get out of the business. I'd probably still be a recruiter if it wasn't for the opportunity that existed with Jeff, just my brother, who's our founder, opening the door and finding his way into what we do. He was a bad recruiter. So I will speak for him on that. And it wasn't because he wasn't good at the specifics of the role. It's because he would never pick up the phone and do it.
Yep.
In order to be a good recruiter or anybody in sales, right, there has to be that kind of tenacity, that kind of just the ability to just kind of stick to it no matter what's going on. And he didn't necessarily probably enjoy it as much as other things. And he was a welder by trade. So he graduated high school, got married at 17, went straight into welding, and did that for years, hurt his back. So then he came in-house and worked for Dad, and Dad taught him that aspect of what recruiting is. And he'd find anything to do but recruit, right? So so rather than pick up the phone, and this is 2006. So he was doing things like Boolean searches and going out there and like learning how to get resumes. LinkedIn was in its infancy, so using that platform, doing a lot of emails, that kind of stuff, real early kind of marketing stuff, digital marketing stuff. And was pretty good at that. And so then he decided he could teach himself to develop websites, because that's what people randomly do, right? And he built that firm's website. And then we are part of associations and memberships of recruiters. They would reach out to us and ask us who did our website. We sent them to Jeff. He started moonlighting, doing those things on his own time.
Our welder made it.
Our welder did this for us. Yeah. So, so it just worked. It clicked. He had an ability to take a understanding of the industry and combine it with a technical aptitude and then solve a problem that a lot of recruiters had. And that was a lack of digital presence. And so when he established that, 2012, he opened up the doors. Shortly after, he recruited me out of that side of the business and then brought me on to help from the biz dev perspective. So
you both worked for your dad for a little while then? How long did
Jeff worked there? Jeff worked there 9 years. Okay. I worked there 7 years. Yeah. Our sister still works with Dad. My dad and my sister now are clients of ours. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. So your dad, how long has your dad been in the recruiting business then?
1989-ish, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he going to retire? Are you going to take it over? What are you going to do with it?
I don't think I have any right to take over anything.
No, that's not true. That's true. Right? Your sister, but is it
Yeah.
yeah.
So he works half day now, I think, at this point. And I think my sister runs the show essentially. She's a big biller.
Yes,
She's part of, if you're familiar with the Pinnacle Society. So she's part of the Pinnacle Society and works from that point of view. And so she's very good at what she does. And so I think he's just riding her coattails until he dies, probably. So
Nice.
why sell it when you got her?
Feel free to say anything you want, because he probably won't watch the show.
Nah. I'll send it to him so he knows.
Watch 19 minutes in, Dad. You're gonna love that part.
You're gonna love it. You're a lethargic, lazy kid, man. Talking crap about you.
I got up, had lunch, and did the show. It was a great day, Dad. You're gonna love it. Yep. All right. So your brother started your dad started a recruiting firm. Your brother started this website firm.
Yeah.
And so he wanted you to be a part of it. And what'd you do? And is it the same now as it was then? How did that all work out? So it was just the two of you?
Yeah. So it's pretty much the same. It's like anything else, right? So when you get into something, you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, but you really don't know anything that you're doing in a lot of ways.
I still feel that way.
That's us every day.
Yeah, right. I think that's anybody that's involved in a small business or anybody that is, because there's so many pieces. You may be good at one really specific facet of the business, right? But then there's so many little things that you have to do that you've never done before, and that change overnight. And so you have to find ways to be able to get good at those. And a lot of time it's just faking it until you make it, and hopefully at some point you make it. And so. Yeah, I mean, it was Jeff, myself, and then we actually had and Troy. I don't know if you've met Matt or not in our office. So Matt is our So Matt's our lead developer and he's a designer. He's been with us since 2012. He's actually our cousin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You kept the family working with family.
Yeah. So Matt was a designer for a sign company here in our area, and had been working and doing that. He went to school for graphic design, had been doing that for a little while. And so Jeff approached him as like, hey, listen, I'm doing this thing where I'm building websites now. And I'm sure Matt was like, I don't see how this is possible, but okay. And
wait, I thought you were yeah.
Right. And Jeff had no design background at all. At least Matt was a designer, but he had no idea how to develop or code. And so Jeff was like, hey, if I can teach you the basics of coding a website and show you some of the fundamentals, you think you want to do that, and could you do it? And so Matt's like, yeah, sure. So Matt's been with us since 2012 as well. And so all of us are just kind of bootstrapping it as we come in, because I've never sold a website. I don't know anything technical about a website. I know zero. I know about the industry from a recruiting perspective at this point, but I know zero about websites. And so we all just kind of learned it together. And we worked on processes. I mean, we would spend, so much time trying to figure out how you deliver a website or how you deliver this service or this product. And it was just a constant refinement over and over again, doing something wrong, then trying to fix, then doing it right. Bringing things in house. Like we didn't have a content writer. We were outsourcing that. Or actually, at the time, we were actually allowing or relying on our clients to provide us content, which means we sat there with a website for months because they would never provide the content, even though it was more cost effective for them. They still would never get it to us. So eventually having to bring that in house, hire for that, hire for marketing services. We didn't have any marketing. We were straight websites. And so then as we evolved into a marketing company, bringing on a marketing manager, which is not going to surprise anyone. She's my sister-in-law. And so,
holidays must be a blast around your guys.
Is there anybody that works there that isn't related?
different sides of the family. So she's actually my wife's sister. She was the marketing director of the largest health system between St. Louis and Memphis here in our town. And we approached her and we're like, hey, we know this would be slumming for you, but would you be interested in helping us develop kind of what we do for marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was worked out well because of the timing of, she loved her job. She'd been with the same company for almost 15 years with the hospital, worked her way up. But they had switched leadership and it was kind of a influx. So it just made sense. So she's been with us since 2018. So,
that's Emily.
Yeah. So you know Emily. Yep. Yeah. No. So there's several now people that are not related to us, which is great. We actually,
my question,
I'm gonna leave this one alone because there was another one that was related to us, that Jeff had to let go. We'll just leave it at that.
Ooh, that's fun thing.
I don't want to leave.
If they get let go, are they excommunicated from the family? Are they shunned?
I think there's like a little bit of self-shunning that's going on, but I don't think it's necessarily. Yeah.
I like
it's not an intentional shun.
Him or her?
Her.
He's like,
Drive her out in the middle of the desert.
Do you want us to guess? Is that part of the show?
Troy's in there trying to figure out who he's worked with in the past and trying to see
what color is her hair. How tall is she?
Yeah. It would be easy to figure out, Troy, I promise. But So it's just whoever you don't work with anymore that you worked with at some point.
You know,
But yeah, so over the years though, I mean, so we've been doing this since 2012. So we're on our 13th year. We've worked with over 1,000 firms of all different shapes, sizes, specialties, focuses within the recruiting industry. In the midst of it, we've opened up other divisions of our company as well that service other industries. So we have a whole other company called Rooted Web that does cross industries. So we work with like a lot of plumbers, HVAC guys, roofing companies, nonprofits, municipalities, construction companies, just across the gambit of other types of organizations where we find ourselves within that brand, where it's the same people doing the work, just a way to differentiate ourselves into our local market. So
Mhm.
I think it's pretty cool. So I obviously when we were looking to change, because we built our own thing and it was good enough to get us off the ground, but when we needed to go more sophisticated, we found, because there's no shortage of guys that say they'll build you a website, right? In
Right.
companies. But you found a niche within the niche, right? And kind of stuck to it, which is kind of remarkable in a way, because most people try to be all things to everybody and then they're not really good at anything, right? So
Right.
um why did you decide to do that? Because this whole rooted web and some different things, that's a pretty new thing, right? If I recall.
That's 2018-ish, 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But you decided, so because of your background, recruiting is the sweet spot that you wanted to stick in, right?
it is. Yeah. Yeah. The Rooted Web really came out of necessity just because we were referred to local people in our community, right? That then, hey, they need a website. And I know some people that do this. You should meet with recruiters' websites. And they're like, I'm sorry, what? I don't know what that is. And so we had to come up with some sort of way to identify ourselves with local companies. And so even in that sense, I mean, that was, everything seems to be somewhat of a happy accident in some ways, right? Because that was something that was just there to prop up and facilitate some conversations, whereas we weren't really pursuing business that way, but then that became a viable business model that was there too within our local community. And so that then has become into us being able to service those clients very, very effectively as well. And not really intentionally doing it from the sense of a full out kind of like intention, but from the perspective of it, taking what you've learned, taking what you've been able to kind of gain for the last, that year, 6 years of doing it, and how do you apply that to other niches or other verticals? So
Did you find anything challenging in that, or was it like, okay, we have we're 90% there, it's just a matter of different mixing it up?
it was. I mean, everything's more challenging when you make any changes or adjustments. So dealing with recruiters, and again, being raised by one, being one, I hope I can speak to this effect and not be offensive. Is the fact that they are very determined people, because most of them, they're very type A, because most of them are individuals. Obviously, they're entrepreneurs, right? If they run a firm. So they branched off, they took the jump, they started their own company, they've been taking out the trash, they've been doing everything from making the cold calls, finding the candidates, anything and everything, all the clerical, secretary work, admin work, anything you can think of. A lot of times it's a solopreneur that's doing all of that. So it's their baby. And so when you're dealing with someone like that, and you're dealing with a company like that, it's a very personal process. It not only is it how they want to see their company marketed and built and presented to their clients and candidates, but how then as well, then it's their resources. It's their checkbook that they're investing in. So it's a very personal process that's there. And so in that, you learn to deal with people a little bit differently, because your customer service has to be very high. Your ability to be able to understand and learn how to adapt and accommodate what they're looking for has to be very, very high. And so being able to take all the things that you learn from your ups and downs and apply that into other small businesses, it was very transferable skills. So there were things that had to change it, and things that were slightly different. But I think working with recruiters is one of the harder demographics of clients to work with. And I say that lovingly because I truly do enjoy it. It's wonderful. And not many people can do it. A lot of people try in our industry and they fail because they don't understand what recruiters are or who they are and what they do. And so being able to start with that kind of very high level type of and high touch level type of client, I think boded well for then getting into other industries that maybe weren't as sensitive to some of those things.
Well, all right. So that it's an interesting spin, right? So recruiters are different people. the lady there in the blue shirt, she's the most different person I've ever met.
It's true.
I'm perfect.
But no, but you're right. I mean, in order to be a successful recruiter, you have to. Type A is a good way to kind of describe them. Sales, you can call it recruiting, call it. It's very, very
It's
sales.
sales. It's sales, right?
But what do you think is that, so when people think of recruiters, you said, what do you think the misconception is? What do you think the world thinks of a recruiter versus what they really are?
I just don't think they understand that it's so, like you said, it's sales. They don't understand that part of it. And it's not just sales, it's the hardest sales because you're selling, let's say you're selling two products, right? You got a client and you got a candidate. At any given time, that client can change their mind or tell you something different than what they're actually thinking. Or the candidate can, and the first rule of recruiting Dad taught me is candidates lie.
What?
Because
no,
the first rule of recruiting, candidates lie, because they do, and that's okay. I get it. They're protecting their own self-interest.
And I like your story about the college degree.
Yeah,
Right. Kind of inventing NFL.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, I get it. In some ways, I get it. But those two products, being able to change their mind, lie to you, do completely opposite from what they tell you, you got to be able to control that, overcome objections, understand those nuances, be able to read both of those different types of audiences, and put together this essentially 30-step process to make that all come together. And so the other world that doesn't know that, hasn't been in that shoe, that hasn't experienced that, they think you just post jobs. Oh, they're just posting jobs.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's easy. Why? And then they're out there, they're super lazy. They're just throwing stuff at the wall. They're just sending in resumes. They're doing all these things. Anybody could do that. I don't know why anybody uses a recruiter. And for God's sakes, they're not worth the $30K that I'm paying them for this one type of placement. So, so that misconception of what a recruiter does, I think most companies that work with them or partner with them, whether it's from our perspective or maybe in another way, don't understand all those nuances and what makes a recruiter a recruiter.
Yes, there you go, Marissa. You've never been more amazing than you are right now. Good for you.
I know. Ooh, I don't know if I'm a type A.
Well, but I like the way you explain the synergies. You got to actually sell to two people, right? And usually two very different personalities, right? Because they both want different things in a sense, right? So I don't know. It's pretty cool. Your business?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
Go.
Well, I was going to say that's what makes it interesting. So, it's the industry itself has a very high burnout rate of recruiters, right? The turnover rate is tremendous because a lot of people come into it not knowing what I just told you. Even if they say, hey, this looks like a good idea. I think I can do this. I think I'm good with people. Or I was in HR at one point kind of concept. Yeah. And those things aren't really
there, right? Is HR is recruiting and it's not. Yeah.
It's not. And so, you get a lot of people that then venture out into that or go work for a recruiting firm and they're gone in 12 to 18 months. It's very, very tough business. And so those that do make it and those that are able to endure that, obviously they're rewarded and it pays off, but it's not something that's for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of the people that, if you're in recruiting or in sales, rejection is 90% of your life is being told no, right? And so a lot of people, I think, have
married.
a problem with it.
One of the three.
I know. Yeah. Same thing. But I think a lot of people have a real problem with that when they get into it. They don't realize, they just see that, man, you can do really well for yourself. You get to be around people and talk to people. Yeah, but those people don't want to talk to you most of the time. So it's just kind of
well, and the work that it takes to get to the point where you're able to be successful in it is hard because again, people think you can just people think it's just posting and praying, but it's not. It's making phone calls. And even if you have the greatest marketing engine in the world, I don't think anything substitutes. And because I don't separate these two. This is where we differ from a lot of marketing companies. A lot of marketing companies will say, hey, we have all these marketing solutions so you don't have to cold call. And I would say, hey, we have all these marketing solutions to help you make your calls less cold.
Right. Yeah.
It's because that's the purpose of sales. That's what recruiters do. There's nothing that replaces being able to have a conversation, to be able to pick up the phone, be able to reach people that you're prospective clients and employers cannot reach. That's the value you bring. It's not the people that are applying. They can see those people. It's the people that aren't applying that are the valuable candidates that they're looking for, that are going to bring a lot of opportunities within their organization. And so for firm people to not understand the work that goes into getting that one candidate from point A to point B across the finish line through the guarantee period, all the way out until, you're getting paid and the check is cash. It's a very long process. And most people aren't set up to do it.
Yeah.
Let me
Well,
ask
and
you
also
this.
you think about
Go
you
ahead.
think about the companies that you're dealing with. We had one just last week who he just didn't understand why we'd only sent one person to him. He said, "What? You only interviewed one person? No. You interview a bunch of people. We just
Right,
send you
right.
the ones that we think you would like,
Right.
Yeah.
But
Well, people get used to that. Well, my grandpa got 3 bids, my mom got 3
right,
bids, and I
yeah.
should get, so it's like that whole
Hey,
thing. Chad, you were gonna
Well,
ask a question.
yeah, go
no,
ahead,
I mean,
Chad.
do you find that sometimes maybe the secret that makes it successful is in like the consulting? In other words, your client comes to you with content or a job posting, and you're like, "Hey, you should really think about the way this is written," or you just kind of roll with whatever they give you. Is that really
No,
where the difference could
That's a
be?
good question.
yeah, it is. I mean, that's why people come to us, right? I mean, I've been in the industry longer than most of the clients I work with. So, I've read more books about it than they have. I've been to more conferences. I've sat through more seminars. I've been immersed in this stuff for the last 15 years of my life and longer, because I would have to sit down and watch those tapes with dad and listen to the recordings when we're in the call. He'd pop a cassette in, and that's what we're listening to, or a CD of a trainer. That's legitimately what our family trips were like. We weren't listening to "There's a Hole in My Bucket, Dear Liza." We were listening to, and if that objection
Jim
doesn't get them
Rome.
over, right, we're listening to guys like, you guys may not know him, but a guy named Steve Finkel or Pete Lefkowitz, and those guys that are these
Yeah.
industry trainers. Those are the people that we sat around and listened to all the time. And so when someone comes to us, and not just me specifically, but the entirety of our firm, because everybody's been in the industry longer than most people have. I mean, we've had some good longevity because we're all related, right? So, so we've had some good longevity within
Combined,
the
we've been there for
organization.
250 years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. My father did it, my grandfather and his father before him. And so we come with a lot of experience and knowledge. And just when you work with 1,000 firms, you start to see trends. You start to see things that work and doesn't work. Like the number one thing that I'll see, I speak a lot of times in very large statements, sweeping statements. One of the things that I see a lot of is that a firm will come to me and say, "Steve, we're not like the other firms, right? We're boutique. We don't send a bunch of resumes. We really narrow it down to the one or two." And they'll tell us this information. They'll tell us something like that, like that's something we've never heard before. But every firm I've ever worked with has said that exact same thing. And
Right.
so we have to pry a little bit deeper. Okay, well, what about that makes you unique? So beyond even just the one or two resumes you're sending or candidates you're submitting, what else makes you unique within your industry and the way you provide those services to your clients, even to your candidates? So yeah, we have to push, and they come to us because of those, and then also because of the nuances within the market, how we optimize a website, how we put content together, a lot of the things that we provide for them beyond even just the website itself.
Do you ever break it to them like, "Hey, man, you ain't the first one to think of that, son"?
No.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it. They don't believe it. But we've said it. And at the end of the day, it isn't my company. So there is a little bit of that, right? So we can make recommendations and we can give our opinion. At the end of the day, it's like a candidate for recruiter, right? It is the company's hire. And so ultimately we're just going to do our best that we can to put them in position with messaging that does reflect what they want, and let them, kind of decide it from there.
So let's build on that. So you asked that of your clients, so tell me, all right, so that's unique, but tell me why it's unique or whatever. So what makes your recruiters' websites and Rooted Web, what makes it different, right? So what makes your firms, your options different to the world? So you're the main sales guy there. You're pitching most of these new clients, I assume, right? Or your team is.
Yeah.
So what
I'm
is
the
it?
only- yeah.
What's the big difference maker between you and everybody else?
Well, Troy, I always lead with this, and this is an impactful statement, and I hope they do it. I just say, because.
Blah,
I
blah,
like
blah.
it.
They said so.
Because, come
Write that
on,
down.
This whole
Write
family
it
wouldn't work
down.
here if we weren't awesome. Yeah.
just do it. Come on. I think the biggest thing is that, so one, the industry knowledge from the recruiting perspective, but even beyond that, we approach this. So marketers, and I'm trying to say this correctly, marketers and SEO experts, content creators, I think they approach things from a content creation marketer and SEO point of view, which is good, right? That's all they know.
Mhm.
We approach this in a lot of ways from a business mindset first, and then how those things apply from a business perspective. And so being able to kind of balance those two worlds, and then with the industry knowledge within that, allows us to be able to create successful marketing campaigns, successful websites that aren't something where you're not seeing inflated prices. It's almost like healthcare in some ways, right? You get your bill and you're like, why was this $200,000? You just did a colonoscopy. It was fun, but it wasn't that fun. And so why did it cost so much? And I
Jim
think a
does
lot of
those
with Mark,
at his BLT parties for free. They're just included. So,
they're on the way out. You get a coupon
I
for
get
a free.
Mine isn't that expensive because it's a guy in a van that comes by once every 6 months.
Yeah, mine are free. I don't know. You guys are paying for yours.
Doesn't cost me a thing.
Carl will do this for free, no problem. You're in and out 15 minutes. It's like Jiffy Lube.
He pays me.
That's a good idea, Jim. Mobile colonoscopy. I'm gonna write that
I
down.
like it.
We'll see your list, your name on the next Epstein file list. But with that, and I think there's a lot of inflation. So we see it all the time, like a lot of justification in our industry, in the marketing industry, for justification's sake. Like, hey, we have to have your website hosted in this environment, follow these procedures and this processes. And so we have to have this thing in place. We have to have these three people doing it. So, it's going to be, $750 a month for us to host and maintain your website. Like, something along those lines. It's fictitious numbers, fake things, not a real experience. Whereas we're approaching this from a much more business-oriented, common sense point of view with a marketing expertise that allows us to deliver on things, I think, a lot more efficiently. And what I see is much more effectively.
yeah. Well, I could tell you the last call we had with your team, I think our website clicks went up 800% over the last 6 months. So,
Well, and
That's
that's even like
exciting.
you guys, and that's even off of like a really high already organic presence.
we're
It's
already
not
pretty
like
good.
we're not talking like we went from 2 to 8. We went from like 3,000 to like
Yeah.
8,000. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, more than that even, but yeah, it was awesome. So, okay. So that's the right way to go, right? So so right now, the industry, so I talked to, like ZipRecruiter, places like that. I talked to even your team. They're seeing recruiting firms in general are in a little bit of a maze at the moment, right? So what do you think is happening in the industry? Where do you think it's going? I've got my own thoughts and some strategic shifts we've been working on to get ahead of it. But what do you think? You're closer to all that, what's next, than I am. So
Yeah, I think the industry it's obviously in a transitional period. I think we may get struck dead if we don't say the word AI in this conversation. I just think like the whole world would stop if someone doesn't talk about artificial intelligence.
Marissa was going to ask about it next.
Yeah.
And so it is a real thing. It is impacting the industry. It's making recruiters more efficient. It's giving them more ability to be able to do their job without having help from other outside resources, which is fantastic for them. It's also giving them too many shiny objects to chase, which is making them to trial new softwares, new tools, have a lot of new monthly fees, whereas, they weren't as distracted before. So I think there's a little bit of that. It's also distracted their clients. It's also made their clients feel more empowered as well. So they're balancing that out too. So there's a lot of external influences on different industries and things that we're doing and the people that they serve. But, I think from a perspective of where the industry's at, it's going to vary depending on what industry they serve.
Yeah.
So if you're in skilled trades, the things you guys are seeing are much different than someone that's in IT information, or software development, something along those lines. Those industries, IT, software development, even marketing and creative industries have been very, very negatively impacted from a recruiting perspective, because now one software developer can do the job of 3 or 4, if not more. And so when those people left or they laid them off, they're not replacing that talent. And so it's left individuals in those kinds of industries having to find new values or new value statements to their clients, new value prospects to their clients, because what they traditionally relied on it's not needed anymore with that. So I think you have that.
It feels a little bit like 20 years ago, or maybe more, when Google and all this stuff was just kind of getting rolling out, and social media, and everybody's trying to figure out, how do we use it? What's the best strategy? Where do I spend my money? I feel that way with all this stuff, and AI is coming fast, but it's very, very, it reminds me very, very much of building our initial websites when all that stuff started to come out. Right. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opportunity. There's so much opportunity within it. That's the cool side of it, right? There may be some things that are affected, and there may be some things that are a little harder than they used to be, or not as valuable as they used to be from a service that a recruiter may provide for a client. But then the opportunity that exists to be more prevalent, to be more visible, to do that from more of an organic perspective. It's kind of like a the new frontier on that. Companies that were already positioned from an SEO point of view can take that basic foundation they had there and enhance that and make strides above their competitors that are not doing that. And so, it's a very interesting time in the industry. I think a lot of things are going to transition and change. I still think there's a great need for recruiters, staffing, making that distinction of staffing versus recruiting. Staffing's different. You're light industrial.
Yep.
You got Amazon that's hired, thousands of people without someone even touching that process, because they can just use AI agents to do that and facilitate that. I mean, that's wild. And so if I'm on that type of staffing, if that's my firm, I'm probably going to want to think about ways I can pivot to be more upstream or with the types of positions I fill versus those kind of low entry level roles. So, there's things to think about for sure with it.
What about on the candidate side, though? Is part of the issue? I mean, we talk a little bit of controversy on this show about the new generation coming out. I know I have my opinions. Troy has his. But what about on the candidate side? Are we seeing a decline in the candidate pool?
I feel bad for candidates right now. Because imagine you're looking for a job and you submit your resume to 100 different places, and all you're getting back is AI generated responses.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. And then you're trying to guess how to make it through that noise. So you're making then edits and AI adjustments to your resume. At the end of the day, you have one AI resume talking to an AI hiring manager, and no one's really even getting hired. I mean, I've heard people say they've applied to 15,000 different jobs.
I've been seeing that too.
Yeah, and they don't get responses. Yeah, it's because they're using mass applies, because they're just creating a resume and using like Claude to go out and submit their resume for them. And they programmatically do that, and they're not getting responses. So this is where, to me, a recruiter is more valuable than they've ever been, because you have all this automated processes where people are submitting their resumes and having then agents review those resumes, and no one's making any progress or doing anything. It just becomes noise and just becomes a lot of volume. You have a recruiter then that potentially sits in the middle of all that then is able to narrow in on the 1 or 2 candidates that make the most impact in your business, that actually are the right fit, and they bring that to you. You're going to pay all the money in the world to not have to sift through 1,000 resumes or try to make sense of whatever that AI agent is telling you, because of just the shortcomings that are still there in the way that it's reviewing resumes and really finding the right person. So, but from a perspective of
all the money in the world, that's what they're willing to pay.
One of the things that
eventually
we had talked about on one of our other calls was how resumes are becoming a thing of the past. And it was on the news last night. They were talking about it, how companies now aren't even asking for resumes,
More
because they
aptitude
know
tests versus resumes.
because they're all, resumes are just all AI now. It's all Chat GPT, so.
Yeah, it is. It's so it's never been harder to be a candidate looking for a job, and I don't think it's ever been harder for a company looking for an employee to hire. And I think those two things bode well from a perspective of recruiters that are really involved in those processes.
In both, right?
Right.
Well, you're looking at one. So there you go, world.
Right.
So let me ask you. So I always think about this. So getting into the recruiting space, and I don't know how much, so there. I don't think recruiters are going away. We've shifted some of our process over to some AI and some just to speed up and just, to be more efficient, like you said. But we didn't change headcount because of it, right? So we're just going bullish on how much we can kind of grow through that mechanism. But it is to me, I think being a recruiter, unlike almost everything else, is a pretty unique job. And I'll tell you why. If you think about the number of jobs, so how many jobs have you had in your life, Chad?
Different
all of
jobs,
them. Yeah. Yes.
a dozen.
How many of them meant anything to you?
One.
One. Marissa, how many jobs?
I haven't had that many, maybe less, like 5, 4 or 5.
Okay. Jim, you were in the Navy for a long time, so you,
Yeah. I would say probably 10.
but most people, if you ask them, I probably had in my life, from every stupid thing I've ever done, probably
Overcrafting.
25 different jobs, but I probably only had 2 that meant anything to me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and to be a recruiter, to be able to work with people and to, whether you find them or apply, and you work through the process, and to be an advocate of that person and go, hey, I'm gonna put you under my wing. Let's make this thing happen. And you go it through, you introduce, you sell them right to the client. They do their part and get the job, blah, blah, blah. Right. But to be a part of something like that, if in a person's life that they only get to experience 1 or 2 times in their whole life that mean anything, I think it's pretty cool. And it's very unique.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And not everybody's cut out for it because they only see the commission. They only see some of the other things. Right. Not the personal aspect of it.
Yeah. And even the tool
Do you
himself.
agree?
I always thought it was an interesting.
Go ahead.
I always thought it was interesting with you guys being, that special person, because expectation has to meet reality on both sides after the fact. And meanwhile, you're both you're trying to sell both at the same time. And on day one, if either is not happy with the expectation, it's not going to work. So that's always been really interesting to me about what you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't really think so. I think it's like it's rewarding, and it's so fun, especially like when you have your heart set, like, I know this person's like great for this. And then, you have to go through the roller coaster up and down. And then finally it's like, yay. Or, there is a candidate I was set on like getting placed. So I thought he was perfect for one of my clients. It took me like a year and a half. Just like kept reaching out to him. Like I relationship with him. Like I knew about his wife, his kids, everything. And then finally like, getting across, it was like, oh my gosh, like it was such a huge win. It was so exciting. It's like, yay.
Or
And then,
those ones where you get that candidate that you're like, this guy's a superstar. I'm gonna find you a job. Jim did that for a guy that came out of the military.
Yeah.
I got you, right? So you were gonna say something, Steve. You're
Yeah,
add
I
on.
was gonna say that. Yeah, that has to be there, right? That the part of what you're talking about. You have the money aspect of it. I think money to a certain degree will only sustain somebody for so long, right? If it's a job you hate, if it's a job you don't enjoy, if there's no purpose within the role, at some point, even if you have golden handcuffs, that's going to give. And you're going to go find something else to do. And so from the perspective of a recruiter, those that understand and fit in that industry, that there is that, I mean, that, and it's going to sound cliche and cheesy and all that good stuff, but the impact that you do have on someone's life. And like you said, helping them find that one job that may be that job they love for the rest of their life, that they can look back on and say that was fulfilling to them. And you get to be a part of that. It allows you to be able to put up with a little bit of stress, put up with the ups and downs of the industry, and allows you to really go beyond just the paycheck and do something that's pretty cool.
Wait, the paycheck. Troy, you pay people?
I don't pay you.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
You get commission, Jim.
Yeah, sell something, Jim. Steve just said they'll pay any amount. You just have to ask them. All right. So what's next for you, Steve? So you've been doing this for 20 years, right? Long time, almost.
Yeah, not quite 20, but yeah, getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna continue doing this so far. I mean, it's pretty good, right?
What what's next
We've
for
able,
the business? Are you adding on products, marketing, ship? What's it all? I know you've done a lot of different things just over the last
yeah,
4 or 5 years.
we're always doing something different. We have different types of products that we've been creating that then allow smaller firms, right? So to be able to invest in a nice looking website and then a really good foundation. So from startup firms that can then choose from one of the templates that we've designed within that, then to full-blown custom sites. So we have a lot of different variety of solutions that we continue to adapt and evolve and based off of the marketplace and what's there. We're doing a lot of cool things with AI ourselves. And so, utilizing that technology to be able to make us more efficient, make our clients more,
Sure.
the services we provide more impactful. So yeah, I mean, I think just continue to kind of grow with the company, see where we can take it and see how many firms we can help and continue in the industry.
There you go. All right. Well, let's go around the horn. And one more question for Steve. Chad?
Okay. Do you know what? I'm gonna give you a chance to give yourself a plug in a very unique way. Uh, so the four of us, we're in charge of bringing on 12 people a year, 52 people a year for this thing, right? And I know I'm working off a list of about 400 people to go through. Troy's is probably a little higher. So out of 2,000 people, why do you think you got asked to come on the show today?
Ooh, yeah.
Look at that.
Convenience.
2,000 people. You jumped
About
ahead of
2,000, right? If we
2,000
put our
people,
numbers
Steve.
together, it's about
Yeah.
2,000 people.
Yeah.
At least.
Convenience, guys.
And Jim has at least 4, so 2,004 people.
Yeah. Troy knows me. So he can email me real
There
quick.
you go. Well, we all know all these people.
No, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's my great hair you guys talked about earlier. I don't know.
That's what I figured from as soon as the camera popped on. That was why. So
Yeah.
that's what I had here. Thank you.
He's
for
got cool hair. Yep.
No, I think, maybe because it's a good balance of talking a little bit about marketing, a little bit about the industry. So, there's a lot of things that we do that allow us to be able to kind of talk shop around who you guys serve, from people that coming in and being a part of your franchise to clients that are engaged in your guys' business. It's a nice kind of well-rounded outlook on everything that you guys do. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly what we bring people like you on here. Like I said, it's a fascinating industry, and the trades especially. We're looking for good people, and those people are looking for jobs, and it's very interesting that we can't meet in the middle a little easier. So that's where you guys come in. So
Right.
awesome.
Jim?
So yeah, Steve, just kind of to expand on what Chad was talking about with how many businesses in the trades do you guys represent now?
In the trade specifically,
Yeah.
again, it's not substantial there. It's probably 20 to 30 or so within there that are they're like in roofing, HVAC, plumbing, those
Right,
kinds of
right.
things, glass companies.
And are you
Yeah.
looking to expand that? And I mean, is that an area that you would like to see grow?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And in fact, I have an email that I'm going to send Troy after this meeting to kind of talk more about that.
Well, if you have any family members, you just saying, just wondering if there's anybody else out there that,
Hey, I got a lazy 5-year-old if you're interested. I think we can.
A lethargic 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. All right, Marissa, I bet I know what question you're going to ask Steve.
No, actually, I have
Oh.
a real genuine question.
Okay. All right.
So kind of backtracking earlier. So when you're talking about, when you're talking to the recruiting firms that you're working with as clients, and they all say the same answer as far as like, we only send the best, blah blah blah. So what are some of the most unique answers that you're like, oh wow, okay, that one actually is different that they say that they
Yes.
offer, and like,
Good question.
I love, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
interested.
yeah. Most of the time, it's based in their expertise of the knowledge of the industry they serve. Right. That's because that's where the real differentiators come in. Is if they were an engineer, if they were, if they sat in that seat, if they were hiring for those types of roles, if they were providing service in that, that's when there usually is some really, really tangible material to pull from, because it goes beyond just words and its actual experience. And so, so I think that's where a lot of the value is when we talk about creating content and messaging on a website and how that reflects a recruiter's brand.
Have you ever worked, building on that question, and I'll ask another question, but have you ever worked with somebody who just started a new recruiting firm and you hung up after the first call going, this is a disaster. They'll go out of business in 6 months.
I have
If
talked
so,
to people that have,
who are
I've
they
t-
specifically?
yeah, I've talked to people
Yeah,
that have chosen not to use our services, that I'll look up in 6 months, they're no longer in business.
You see, you are petty. I like it.
Well, so
You are a
so
sales
so
guy.
I have seen that.
Man, nice
Um,
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is funny. I talk about it all the time. There's, when I got into I'm not a tradesman, but I sold a lot of air conditioners, and I still, every time I drive by a house back home, I look to see if they ever replaced that air conditioner. I mean, it's been a long time, so they have, but I remember for
Yeah.
about the first 4 years, and okay, I still didn't lose it to somebody else. Still didn't lose it to somebody else. It drove me crazy.
How did you know?
Because I drove by it on my way home every night, and I could
See the
just
unit.
look.
Yeah.
I couldn't even help
Okay,
myself. Then I had my
yeah,
kids
I
looking,
tried.
my wife, my parents, everybody was watching.
That's a daily recon mission for me.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so my question. So one of the themes that we have at the Blue Collar Trade Show is tools, right, in the trades. Are you a blue collar guy? Are you handy? Would you consider yourself handy
You
on a
fix it.
scale
You
of
break
1 to
things
10?
to fix it.
On a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's 2.
2. All right.
A
So
2.
what are you handy with then? I don't even know.
Marissa's a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
I'm
see
a
that.
5 now, Jim.
Yeah, no, I'm just incompetent. It's quite sad, Troy.
Show us your hands.
My hands are rough. I lift weights, so my hands are rough.
Okay.
I play
All right.
play guitar, so I
Yeah.
do things that make me feel like I have some sort of value to the society, but I don't.
Okay. So with my favorite tool was a Leatherman, one of those little universal pliers things. You put in a little. You've probably never seen one.
I worked at Sears. I worked at Sears, so I know tools. I know what tools are.
Okay.
We just
All
don't
right.
use them.
You are
Good old-
qualified.
Good
then.
old craftsman tools.
Yeah.
Jim, what was your tool? I forgot. The
Channel
level?
locks.
A channel locks. Marissa,
Yeah.
show him your tool. I was gonna say that to Jim, but that would have been weird.
Oh wait.
That would
That's
have been a
already-
weird comment.
Yeah, weird question. Chad, tell him about your favorite. You won't leave the house without it.
My wet tile saw.
Because you
You
never
don't leave the
know.
house. You never know.
She got her
What
first
did I
tape
say the
measure on
first
this
time? I think
show.
it was
Yeah.
measure or tape measure or measuring tape. I don't know, whichever way it is right. I said it wrong the first
Tape.
time.
Tape measure.
And a tape measure. And now I know it's a tape measure.
You didn't know. You
Okay.
just had to ask Chad.
Well, I forgot. I couldn't remember which one was like it's on the spot, I gotta think about it. But
What else
anyways,
does
it's
it
like
do?
a level, it reads, tells me everything. Like it's amazing.
Is it like one of those 8 balls?
Yeah.
No.
It just guesses and tells me, yeah, and it's right.
You'll have
It's
a
so
good
crazy.
day.
So, yeah.
Undecided.
That's who's typing?
That's me. My bad.
you-
I'm sorry. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes of your guys'
Very
favorite tools.
impressive. Yeah.
What? So we have to know a 2 on the tool scale. What's a guy
Yeah.
like you? If you had to have a tool, if you're going on Naked and Afraid or one of your favorite shows, I remember you saying in the past, what would you bring with?
Yeah, you're right. All right. So this is going to be completely self-deprecating and just expose my level of aptitude from being a tool to with tools is very, very accurate. My wife has a toolbox that we keep upstairs.
My wife has one.
That's a
Nice.
purple toolbox that has like the essential, like nails to hang some pictures, like a real kind of like almost a Fisher Price based hammer. And then some random wrenches that don't really do anything. And just the odds and ends. And that's my go-to toolbox for it for
never leave
anything.
home without-
That's as deep as I get. Is my wife's, and I'd go get it if I had time. But my wife's purple and / kind of pinkish hue toolbox. So you don't
love
want me to help with tools. In fact, I had a plumber over here this morning, giving me a quote on a project because I'm just going to have him do it. So I stimulate the economy.
Did you show him your
with my?
tools?
No, never.
He's like, use my pink
Did-
screwdriver.
Don't ever show that toolbox to nobody.
No, yeah, no. I greet him at the door, Troy, with it in my hand. Hey,
I wasn't
you-
able to get this
You're
myself.
not a big you're not a big pancake guy, right?
Yeah, what did
Yeah,
you eat
I
for
can
breakfast
buddy
this morning,
pancake.
man? Are you a steak and eggs guy or are you a pancake guy?
I
We gotta know.
had leftover Mexican food that I threw some eggs on and made it.
That
made,
is,
like,
that's beautiful.
There you
yeah.
go.
I love
beer.
that.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other last words of wisdom for all the children out there, Steve?
No, I mean, I think I've given enough. I think they're tired.
That's enough.
All right. Well, we
It's a
can't
good
thank you
time.
enough for all the time.
Thank you,
yeah,
Steve.
No,
It was-
we appreciate you being on the show. It's been a lot of fun, as I knew it would. That's the reason why, because you're a funny guy and you have cool hair.
There you go.
I didn't even know you made websites. Actually,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, next we'll talk about that next time.
there you go.
So
Very good.
Th-
All right.
thank you guys
sir.
so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.